opportunity to welcome everyone for the next session of our Wednesday Wisdom webinar in the series of education which we had started post-pandemic, and we continue to do that, bringing international faculties for the benefit of BMA and members and participants for the session. I am very happy to share that today we have Professor Dr. Jayaraman Krishnaswamy from Malaysia, from Taylor's University, Malaysia, joining us for the session. And the topic is very, very apt for today, which is construction and evaluation of management models for business applications, which to my mind is very apt in today's environment where things are changing so fast and the models are changing so fast and new models are emerging for business. People used to talk about pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, and then hybrid models and also newer methods of doing businesses which has emerged in the newer situations. So I'm sure Dr. Krishnaswamy is a wealth of experience and knowledge will be helpful to each one of the participants. So just to introduce Dr. Krishnaswamy, Dr. Krishnaswamy is a professor in Taylor's University, Malaysia, in Malaysia's School of Management and Marketing, Faculty of Business and Law. He is a Doctor of Philosophy in Statistics from University of Madras, and he just shared with me that before moving to Malaysia for 21 years, he was teaching in University of Madras. Actually, his area of expertise is in operations and quality management, in quantitative research methods, supply chain management, and tourism and transportation. He is currently editor-in-chief Taylor's Business Review Journal, and also Senate member of Taylor's University. His research interests are in the area of supply chain management, operations and quality management, tourism and transportation, and Lean Sigma and lean manufacturing. He has been teaching in the area of business and project management and consultancy, research methodologies for executives, quantitative methods for business and business strategy projects. He has more than 110 plus journals and article publications to his credit. And he was just sharing with me that he has worked on more than 60 management models he has completed, which is a tremendous work. And we are honored to have you, sir, with us. The research projects which he has completed, various and some to mention, is construction of framework of sustainable energy security practices and its effects on users and non-users of solar energy among landed property owners in Malaysia, travel behavior modeling, and also construction of business model for student-centered learning and its impact in higher education. He has been speaker and presenter at various national and international conferences and seminars, and he has been awarded in the 19th International Business Summit and Research Conference on theme honoring the past, changing the present, and shaping the future global leaders of today and tomorrow at MIT Business School in Noida, and also with Service Excellence Award Services from University of Saints in Malaysia, and Outstanding Teachers Award from, again, University of Saints from Malaysia. So, sir, we are honored to have you here, and we welcome you to the program. All is yours, sir.
Thank you very much for your nice words. Good evening to all the participants. It is 7:30 now at Kuala Lumpur, the capital of Malaysia. So I have been in Malaysia for the last 14 years. And I would like to extend my sincere thanks to the president of Bombay Management Association and the vice president for having given me this opportunity to conduct this webinar. With the help of more than 4 collaborative centers and with my PhD scholars, my colleagues at Taylor's University, and my previous universities at Madras, I could manage to construct and evaluate more than 60 management models, which have numerous business applications. But I don't have time to explain, all these models for today's webinar. I need almost like 10 webinars like this, to cover all the management models. So, but then as a token, I would like to discuss some 5 management models with the business applications today. So I take this opportunity to thank my collaborative centers. The first one is the Graduate School of Business, University Science, Malaysia, where I worked for more than 8 years. And then the other center is the Faculty of Business and Law, Newcastle University, Australia, where I was a visiting professor. And then the E-Trade Commerce Logistics Center at Changong University, Korea, South Korea, where I was visiting professor for more than 2 times. And finally, the Nuremberg University, Germany, again, the Graduate School of Business. So in all these centers, I have been having contacts, and we share our expertise to different projects, government projects. Actually, in Seoul, we were discussing about how to make logistics between North Korea and South Korea if they are joining in future. So the government has sanctioned a huge project. So I was the panel member there in Changong University, South Korea. So coming to today's webinar, the key terms in my topics are only 2. One is the management model. The second one is how the management models are used for business applications. So these are the 2 key terms. So before going to the topic, I would like to explain the prerequisites and how to conceptualize a management model. Then only you will appreciate, what is management model. Now, for your kind information, without management model, you cannot submit any government projects today. And you cannot apply in business school without any management models for internal grants, external grants, for your PhD studies, for your DBA studies. So in each and every aspect of this spectrum, people ask for first management model. What is your management model? What is the practical relevance of your management model, and whether it has some applications, business applications? Otherwise, there is no point in doing, research in management or business. Okay, so now how to conceptualize management model? As far as I know, there are 4 methods of conceptualizing management model. The first method, we say the historical data, that is the secondary data. From the secondary data, you take, for example, see the macroeconomic factors affecting the currency exchange value between US dollar and Indian rupees. Now it is quoting today around 74 point something per dollar. Now, which factors decide on currency exchange value? Is it gross domestic product of India, GDP, or inflation rate, or gold reserves, or foreign direct investments, or fuel price, so, or the cost of living index, or the purchasing power of money? So there are so many macroeconomic factors decide on the exchange currency value between US dollar and Indian rupees. So therefore, you can collect the secondary data, conceptualize the model, and forecast the estimates for future based on the current scenario. So that is one application of historical data. That is the secondary data, and conceptualize the model. What are the drivers which decide on the currency value of Indian rupees? Okay, so, but you should not collect, say 10 years of data. That won't be of any useful to conceptualize. You have to take the latest data, daily data, because that the exchange value daily, it is changing every second, now and then. So in the newspapers, you can find the maximum value, minimum value, and the average value. So you can take the average value of money as your topic of interest and decide on which are the factors affecting this average currency value. So that is, for example, you can take 2 years daily data and then analyze. But GDP is not available for every day. So there are formulas to convert all the parameters into one unit of time, and then you can forecast estimates for future. So this is the first way of conceptualization in finance. The second way of conceptualization is visiting industries. I do normally. I have extended consultancy to more than 40 companies in India and Malaysia. So I have done some extensive work in industrial consultancy in Intel. Intel is the ocean in IT company, producing mother chips for gadgets. And then Motorola, the walkie-talkie, they are supplying it to 27 countries in the world. So I'm a consultant for Motorola. And then Royal Selangor here in KL. So I'm doing industry consultancy also. So when we go to industry, we see what are the pain areas and why the profit margin is very low in spite of their sales promotions, in spite of their innovation, everything. So what we do is currently we did the startup failures. So though we talk about innovation all the time in the world, 90% of the innovative products, innovative process and strategies failed in the world because there are so many reasons, startup failures. We want to know what are the real factors which contribute on startup failures. So we found that when we visit and interview with the entrepreneurs, we found that budget constraint is one of the major problems they are facing. And then they spend more money for latest technology and they don't have money for business rotation. This is another problem. And they duplicate the same type of work, same types of business transaction and jobs, duplication in startup business. That won't, really make success in business. Like that, the second conceptualization would be this visiting industries and seeing the plant and find out the real situation, and then you can conceptualize the model and evaluate the model for practical relevance by testing it and see what are the real business applications. So this is, of course, the second method. So the third method is, that is what academicians normally do, because academicians, they have a lot of database to access now. Earlier in my days, even computer softwares were not there. So now we have plenty of resources. So we ask the academicians, the junior staff and the research scholars and then PhD students, to write proposal based on content analysis. So the third method is content analysis. So we call content analysis as doctor, DR. So what is DR? Now, doctor is supposed to diagnose the illness of the patient, but if he is not diagnosing correctly, he cannot prescribe right medicine. Am I right? So therefore, the content analysis is called doctor, where D stands for define your research objectives for the topic chosen. So that is D. And then R stands for review of literature. You have to do extensive review of literature. In the Science Direct, you should not take outdated journal articles. You have to take, you should not take again website articles, internet articles. You have to take the first tired or premier journal articles from ISI Science Direct, that is Science Directory, which is there in Google search. Scopus, indexed Science Directory is available. So you can give the keywords of your topic of study and get millions of articles in that topic. But then again, you have to search for only latest articles in your topic. And then you can, normally we say for initial proposal, you should refer at least 100 journal articles. So each article will have at least 25 references at the back. And therefore, you are covering 25 into 100 journal articles, about 2,500 articles you are covering altogether. And thereby, while reading these articles, you know what are the research gaps that exist in the business world. And then how you are going to fill up the research gaps through your problem statement. So this is actually the content analysis, the third method of conceptualizing a management model for numerous business applications. The fourth one is, of course, meta-analysis. So meta-analysis is analysis of analysis. So we call this as Dr. C's. DR, I already told you, DR is used in content analysis. And then further, we have SEAS, C's. So S stands for actually studies. You have to choose the right study. That is the problem today. So for example, people are still taking job satisfaction as their topic of interest in PhD. We say it is outdated research if you take job satisfaction. And you cannot publish even a single journal article, or you cannot get any external grant if you do job satisfaction, because millions of studies are available in job satisfaction. So therefore, you have to take the burning issues in business and the management, and then try to take that as your research topic for your research and see whether it is doable. So we always say if your research is not doable, it is not feasible to conduct such studies because of the nature, say sensitive, too sensitive, then you have to forego it and go for another study. So therefore, the selection of right study is S, the first letter S. Then the second letter is E, S-E-A-S. E is you have to extract the data by doing review of literature. And then, so I always tell my students, don't sit in front of computer and do, literature review for months together. You observe from the platform of industries, do field visits, go to the industries, see how your topic is applicable there. And what are the constraints they have? How you are going to solve and make decisions based on the constraints in the current world of business. So therefore, the E stands for extract the data and then analyze the data. This is for initializing the proposal and making or constructing the conceptual framework or management model. So analyze the data, play like video games with the data with so many dimensions, and then try to conceptualize the management model. And then the final SEAS, the final S stands for synthesizing your management model. Because in academic world, if you are not synthesizing your framework or management model, nobody will accept your management model. This is very important. So therefore, your framework must be supported by a management theory. For example, what is Doctor of Philosophy? We say PhD, it is Doctor of Philosophy. What is philosophy? Philosophy means theories. Management, there are so many, more than 500 social science theories are available. So therefore, when you conceptualize the model, the matter is not over with that. You have to find the supporting management theory and then see whether it works out with the theory and synthesize your framework with the theory. So this is very, very important while conceptualizing the management model. So actually the theories have merits and demerits, and some, the later version of research article says some theories are not applicable, some theories are really applicable. And for example, the marketing legend Parasuraman explained about circular model with the 5 dimensions. So now the circular model, Grandros and other future researchers extended the theory and they developed a new circular model. So like that, you have to have a flow when you write the research proposal. Who has, started the theory and how it was tested for consistency, validity, and then the standardization, and how your framework can, or the theory can support your research framework. So I have said about 4 methods. As far as my knowledge, one can conceptualize the framework or management model. Now I shall share my presentation so that you will get the picture, better picture of constructing and evaluating the management models. Okay, so I will share the PPT slides for today. So I have given my email. So whenever you have any questions in construction and evaluation of management model, you can always write to me, to my emails. And my office website is given. My Google Scholar citation is also there. And then I will move on to the next slide. So this is our Taylor's University campus, a beautiful architect. And you can see the pond in between the 2 blocks. So the Taylor's University is 1 block. The other block is actually a mall, business mall. And some of our students are engaging themselves with the business. So, and then they make ledger for accountancy. So it will be fantastic that we have a business model within the campus itself. And you can see during, now it is locked down. So we are having only online program. But when we had the face-to-face 2 years back, our students are engaged part-time in business in the campus itself. So that will be very interesting. So it's an excellent campus and #1 private university in Malaysia. So you can see QS ranking here. So Taylor's University is #1 private university in Malaysia and Southeast Asia. And in QS ranking, it is almost in 332 in the world. And then in Asia, it is number 56. And then, so we will move on to the projects I have taken so far in my 14 years of service in Malaysia. So these are the Malaysian government projects for me, about 7 Malaysia government projects I got, but out of which for 3 projects, I was appointed as a lead researcher. So in India, we call that as principal investigator. Here they call principal investigator as lead researcher. So for 3 projects, I'm the lead researcher, and research grant from Taylor's University, where I'm working currently, I got about 2 projects. So totally, I have completed, except the first one, I completed all the projects successfully. And the total value, the net worth of these projects would be around more than 3 crores in Indian rupees. That is 400,000 US dollars. Okay. So now I told you about the management model. There are different ways of constructing, or you can take the combination of methods, 4 methods which I have said, and then you can form your management model. It is simply a layout. Management model is a layout and consisting of many variables and their relationships. Whether direct relationships or indirect relationships. So it explains the relationship among various variables. For your information, in computer science, we say input-output model. So what is input-output model? The input is the source program and the output is the object program. So the same thing is applicable in management model. So the input in management model is the management practices. And the output in management model is the management performance. So management practices are the input, management performance is the output. Now coming to the performance, there are 2 types. One is it can be an individual performance. For example, customer purchase decision. It's an individual performance. Whether the purchase decision, whether the customer has loyalty to the firm, so, or the customer is satisfied with the product. So then we have some theories which are applicable only to the individual, management model, individual performance. Or the performance can be organizational performance. For example, there are so many theories like market-based view, resource-based view, like that. There are so many stakeholders theory, and then, so many theories are available. So now, as far as the organizational performance is concerned, it can be the financial performance or non-financial performance or operational performance or innovation performance or HR performance or CSR performance, maybe anything. Okay, so now variables should be clearly identified. This is what I explained, maybe from observational studies, maybe from industrial visits, and then literature review, content analysis, meta-analysis, all that I have explained. And then you have to synchronize with documental evidence. Okay, now this is the structure of management model. This is the layout, and you can see millions of articles in social science journals with some or all of these variables. This is called management model format. So here you have, first one is the dependent variable. Because there are 6 variables in this model. So the first one is the dependent variable. So the dependent variable is your topic of interest actually. So it could be an individual performance or organizational performance. So it can have more than one variable. And so accordingly, you have to use the tools and the instruments if it has more than one variable. So the topic of interest is your dependent variable. This we call the effect or the management performance. These are independent variables, namely the practices, management practices, how management practices affect on management performance. This is the direct effect. How management practices, namely the predictors, namely the causes, have impact on the performance. So that is the direct effect. And then you have the mediating variables that enhances the relationship between the independent variables and dependent variables. For example, in marketing research, we take a price, quality, value as the predictors of customer loyalty. So if the price is more, then I won't have customer loyalty, isn't it? So if quality is good, price is less, then my customer loyalty will be more. But then it depends on my satisfaction. So customer satisfaction enhances the relationship between the predictors, that is the cost variables, and the performance, the loyalty. Then we have the moderating variables. Moderating variable is the contingency effect. For example, age can be a moderating variable between customer satisfaction and customer loyalty. Younger people will have lesser loyalty. That has been proved already in the management model. And old age people have more customer loyalty. So that can be a moderator age-wise, youngsters and matured people. Then, whereas if you take technology acceptance model, youngsters have more customer loyalty for technological development than the senior citizens. Okay, so now therefore I explained about 4 variables: dependent variable, independent variable, mediating variable, moderating variable. Then we have also got the antecedent variables, that is historical evidence. For example, the brand image already. So how the brand image affect the construction of this model. So then the control variable, namely maybe the firm size can be a control variable. You can compare and small and medium enterprises and see whether they are controlling the performance. So all the other variables must be significantly influencing the DV, whereas the control variables, it is called a control because it doesn't have significance, difference when it effect on dependent variable. Okay, so now I'm going to discuss, as I said earlier, only 5 business models today, management models today, which fetches a lot of benefits to us in terms of, for me, I don't know anybody in my collaborative centers, but till today, last 14 years, I established contacts with them mainly because of my projects. Once they see my journal articles, then they will invite me, Jaya, why don't you visit our place as a visiting professor and explain about your models? Okay, so the first management model which I'm going to discuss today is sustainability of palm oil production. So now, palm oil is the vegetable oil, and per hectare, palm oil gives 11 times more than the soya bean oil. So in India, we have, we use almost all these oils, but palm oil yield is too much compared to, you can see the soya bean and other, 1 minute. So soya bean, sunflower, you can see palm oil production is 11 times more than soya bean per hectare. And then you can see the sunflower 10 times more than, palm oil production is 10 times more than sunflower. Similarly, rapeseed, it is 7 times, palm oil is 7 times more. The seed gives 7 times more extraction of oil than the seed. Okay, now Indonesia is #1 in the world as far as the production of palm oil is concerned. And Malaysia is now the 2nd world largest producer of palm oil, okay, supplying about 12.8% globally. Okay, now what is the issue here? Now this is the palm oil seed, you can see, and you can extract palm oil from this. This is the waste of the palm oil. And now the very interesting fact is that till 2010, Malaysia, the blue line is Malaysia and the red line is actually Indonesia. You can see that till 2010, Malaysia was leader in exporting palm oil in the world. Then after that, Indonesia is leading now. So the problem is in terms of land, Indonesia is 6.6 times more, is bigger in terms of land than Malaysia, 6.6 times bigger than Malaysia. Therefore, Malaysia cannot compete Indonesia in terms of land. So what we are looking for, Malaysia wants to be #1 exporter of palm oil in the world. How to do it? Only thing is we have to produce hybrid palm oil seed. So that is the only thing. And the interesting fact is that this is the latest report. Malaysia surpasses Indonesia to become India's top palm oil supplier. So this is very interesting. And you can see that 84% of palm oil production comes from Indonesia and Malaysia in the world. 84%. So that means it is very huge edible oil production in these two countries in the world. Okay. Now you can see that Malaysia, you can see that China and India are the customers, productive customers of, palm oil from Malaysia. So China and India. So you can see the numbers here. And this is the national key economic areas, how to improve the palm oil production in Malaysia. So I'm not going into details. This is already available in the National Key Economic Research Area. So you can have a look on that later. Okay, so we published actually one paper first. That is the motivation for this, taking up this model. So we published in Oil Palm Industry Economic Journal one article on the pattern of share price behavior of Malaysian palm oil companies and its determinants. So the student who did this project is working for palm oil industry. And then, so he, one of my colleague also from Iran, he converted from academic line to business line. So that was really a surprise to me, because normally the industrial people switch over to academicians at a later stage. But now in Malaysia, academician is switching over to industry. It is, rare, but still it happens. So he wants to get a license for exporting palm oil from Malaysia to Iran. So that is the motivation for taking the study. And he requested me, Jaya, why don't you conduct a study on this and conceptualize a model for production level of palm oil. So he is the only person in Penang get license to export palm oil to Iran. Okay, so now you see the next slide. So what are the propositions we have? So the first proposition is weather episodes affect production level of palm oil. So palm oil needs lots of water. And then, so palm oil, you can have plantation only where the groundwater is more. Otherwise, you cannot have. So we identified the packets in Malaysia where you can actually plant the palm oil trees. So this is the palm oil tree, you can see. Now, labor shortage affects palm oil harvesting cycle. In fact, Malaysians normally never work, sorry to say this, in palm oil industry, because the only expatriates from India, Bangladesh, and Indonesia are the laborers working in palm oil industry in Malaysia, mainly because the wages they give is very less. So therefore, we got labor shortages and labor issues. That is the second proposition. And then higher area of aging trees of palm oil reduces production level. So palm oil lifetime is about 25 years. And then 8 to 8 years, it gives yield. So the matured palm oil tree at the age of 18 gives maximum yield. So after that, it won't give much yield. So first for 8 years, there is no yield of palm oil, and similarly, after 18 years, you will get less extraction of palm oil from palm oil seed. So therefore, we have to give when to cut the palm oil. So this is one issue itself is a major research problem. When to cut the palm oil so that we can optimally extract, palm oil. So this is a major problem we found in this area. And then technology in palm oil in harvesting increases palm oil output. So what technology we want? So we are not talking about IT here, not the information communication technology. The technology is the hybrid technology. For example, if one seed, Indonesian palm oil seed gives 1 unit of oil, then Malaysian seed should give 5 times more than Indonesian seed. So how to do that? That is what we are thinking about, hybrid seed for palm oil production in Malaysia. Then slower China economic growth affects the demand for palm oil. So this is the problem really Malaysia is facing. Then increasing biodiesel mandate use results in more palm oil for blending. So therefore, we conceptualize the model, namely the dependent variable is the production level, and then the inputs are, so the output is the production, how to increase the production so that Malaysia can be number one exporter in the world. So how to do that? So the weather is one. We have to locate the packets where the groundwater is more, and then the labor issues. We have to induct Malaysians also into the field and then increase the wages for the laborers to have sustainability in the long term for palm oil production. And then aging, when to cut the palm oil tree so that we can optimally extract palm oil production, and then how to make a hybrid seed by improving the technology. So this is what the predictors we found. And then the mediating variable is the price of crude palm oil. So actually in Malaysia, per liter palm oil is around in Indian rupees, say 35 to 40 rupees, 35 rupees. But when my colleague, earlier he was my colleague, exported palm oil to Iran, he said he can sell around 50 rupees. So 15 rupees margin, but then, ultimate margin at the end after customs, license, all that transportation, and then converting the crude oil into refined oil and then packaging, all that cost around 10 rupees. So you will still get 5 rupees per liter. That's a huge actually. But the work involved is, very complex. Okay, so the next one is about the demand level. How to increase the demand? Now, India, I told you, is importing palm oil to the extent possible, maximum level from Malaysia. So we have the economic growth is one of the predictors which affect the demand level. And the other one is, as we said, because of China's economic deflation, the biodiesel mandate is another predictor for the demand. And again, the price is the mediating variable in this conceptualization. So the supporting theories are resource-based view and natural resource-based view. So, these are the resources. So when we include the environment effect, it will become natural resource-based view theory. So therefore, we found the supporting management theories are this, and then we synchronized how these theories support our business model. So this is the first model. I will move on to the second model. Now, the second model is very, very, useful today for business world. Because, we published one paper. Lavinsha is my DBA student, and Shan Kumasi is my PhD student. So we three worked together and published. This is my best journal article so far in my 35 years of service in management, because the impact factor of this journal is 14.982, highest. So normally for management journals, you will get about the impact factor 6 only. Very difficult. Even Journal of Operation Research is only impact factor 6. Whereas if you go for medical field, you will get impact factor even 25. So like neurology, ophthalmology, there, because there are many readers, global readers all over the world. So the impact is more. So here we got an impact factor of 14.98. This is my highest impact factor journal article so far, 14.98. So we studied about reasons for low penetration on the purchase of PV panel system, that is photovoltaic panel system among Malaysian landed property owners, and it has been published in Renewable and Sustainable Energy Review Journal. So now in 2017, so what we did is actually we contacted the users of PV panel installed residential domestic users of solar energy. Now, the problem, even in India, last month, I studied so many articles, from every state, people, raising central government, we don't have coal. And then we go for, electricity failure, all that. So the problem is, we are not optimally utilizing the resources which are available to us. This is a real problem we have. We have plenty of resources. We are not optimally and sustainably using the resources. So this is the major problem. So now I have given the reasons for taking up this, this study. And you believe it or not, after this article, we got the government fund of about 15 lakhs last year to conduct this study further. And then I established actually 2 centers for this, collaborative centers. One is in Germany, where the solar energy, they are, extracting it maximum. They are generating solar energy. So let us see the world, global electricity consumption. Then you will get more idea. Now, you take the global consumption of electricity. China is #1 in largest consuming energy in the world. And they are consuming, this is the 2020, the latest report, the latest source I have given. And they are consuming 3,381 million tons of oil equivalent. This is the highest in the world. So energy consumption, followed by USA. But if you see about more than 1,000 tons difference between United States and China. Where is India? Now India is at 3rd place. India consumes about 908 million tons of oil equivalent. So again, the 3rd largest energy consumption belongs to actually India. So whereas Malaysia's consumption is only just 88 million tons of oil equivalent. That is because Malaysia's population is just 31 million. Whereas India and China are nearly 45 times more than Malaysian population. So therefore, the consumption of electricity or energy is more. Okay, so but it is surprising when you see United States has lesser consumption than China. Okay, this is very interesting. Then you see the solar energy, renewable energy. Now the penetration of solar energy is just 2.2%. In 2018 in the world. So that is very, very less, 2.2% solar energy extraction generation, which is very less. So penetration is very less in the market. Whereas if you take renewable energy as a whole, about 25.1%. So it comprises of solar energy, 2.2%, wind energy, geoenergy, bioenergy, and hydro energy. Hydro energy is more, about 15.8%. So renewable energy together contributes only 25.1% in the world, whereas non-renewable energy is the remaining. So that is why we say coal shortage, all that. So in future, it will be a very difficult problem if you are not optimally utilizing the solar power, the sun radiation. As far as Malaysia is concerned, on the average, we are having about 4 hours hot weather in the morning. But the extraction of solar energy is very low, and only in few residential houses and industries, we say it is fully, they have fully installed the photovoltaic panel to extract energy, electricity. So we conceptualized the model for actually users and those who intend to use solar energy panel within the next 6 months. So we see that the social influence is very important for them. They are favoring it. And technology barrier has negative influence on this. And then they have environment concern. They see that solar energy is better to safeguard and environment. And also they say that by using solar energy, we are damaging at a minimum level to environment. That is very interesting. And then economic returns, not that much in the short term, but in the long term, you have definitely economic returns. And then the perceived cost pricing of a solar panel for about 1,500 square feet of roof, you have to spend about 50,000 ringgits. So it means 10 lakhs rupees in Indian money. So therefore, people feel that it is costly. And so they are suggesting, in fact, use and throw solar panels like short-term to get short-term benefits. And the Malaysia government is giving too many, now benefits to the solar energy panel customers. Namely, it is called the FIT model, FIT, namely feed-in tariff. And then they have also NEM. So there are so many advantages Malaysian government is giving those who are using for domestic purpose solar energy. So feed-in tariff means after domestic usage, if the residents are interested to sell the electricity, they can sell it to the government. And government is buying electricity from the residential owners. It is very interesting. And then we found that the size of the roof matters a lot. When the size of the roof is less, people are going for, solar panel installation, PV installation, mainly because they get returns. In addition to their regular domestic usage, house usage for electricity, they can also sell the electricity to the government and they are getting money every month. So therefore, when the size of the roof is smaller, it moderates the model, this management model. So that is very, very, shocking results for us. Okay, so the next one is, these are the significant findings of our study. It says that Malaysia is very rich in sunshine throughout the year. So we don't have like summer, winter, and so on in Malaysia. Every day we have 4 hours of heavy sun exposure, and then followed by alternate days we get rain. A very good green atmosphere in Malaysia because we have plenty of groundwater. And then out of 157 Malaysian respondents surveyed in this study, 74 of the respondents have intention. Others have already installed the PV installation. And the respondents are eager in installing PV panel, provided they get some returns, I told you already. And then the technology barriers and environment problems have negative impact on the purchase intention of PV panel system. And those respondents who are staying in smaller house with lesser roof size favor purchase intention. And then need of the hour. So this is very interesting. So the very interesting aspect is need of the hour is the advanced technology. With the different modules for short and long-term use and throw technology for PV installation, and the solar system installation requires a high capital investment. This is the problem. And then the respondents feel that either we should be given a tax relief for this so that we can buy the PV panel and have full roof installation, or they want to have provident fund withdrawals exclusively for installation of PV panel. Okay, then you see, this is the current project we have undertaken, and the collaborative centers are South Korea and Germany. We are almost going to complete this. Sorry, I have to move. Okay, I'll move here. So this is a very complicated model using modified technology acceptance model developed by our Venkatesh. Professor Venkatesh is doing a lot of work. He published many articles in TAM. We have technology acceptance model 1, 2, 3. The latest one is technology acceptance model 3, and that is supporting our framework. So this is the project we applied for, and we got huge amount for this. So here we want the first dimension is on social status. That is the subjective norm is one of the predictor. That is the influence of users, whether users influences non-users or not. So that is subjective norm. And then the social status. So if I have a PV installation in my house, then I feel privileged, and that is the social status. And then the output quality is very good in Malaysia. In fact, most of the residential people feel that we could manage the entire electricity for the house just using solar energy, and we are no more subscribing the non-renewable electricity energy. So this is a fantastic news. And then demonstrability, the results. And then we also checked the security issues, that is sustainable security issues. So here, actually, this is the project, solar energy project we got. We tested the availability, affordability, efficiency, accessibility, and the government regulations. So the real problem here is if there are more solar panel system users, then probably it will affect the revenue for regular electricity. So therefore, we should have a separate project on this particular fact, whether it affects the regular electricity revenue. So this is again a major problem we want to take up. So we want to actually see what is the long-term benefits of using solar energy and how it can be compared with the regular electricity, and then whether it affects the revenue of regular electricity board. That is, already, if it affects, then government won't sanction solar energy projects because it affects the revenue for government. So this is again, we want to take up this project next. This is the major project for us. And then the perceived usefulness is the mediating variable. And then the perceived use of technology is another mediating variable. And what is the adoption of solar? Whether people are interested, this is for non-users. Will you go for PV installation in the near future or not? And then what about the usage behavior? So this is the huge project we got recently. And this is there's a lot of business applications, and we want to extend this idea to different management models, to how to optimally utilize the solar energy. So this is the major work we have done last 2 years. Okay. So the next slide, I'm not able to move, sorry for that. Yes. So the third model I'm going to discuss is on telecommunication industry. So in Malaysia, we have 7 service providers. Maxis and Digi are the leading service provider in telecommunication in Malaysia. So we have done the service innovation marketing model, service innovation in marketing. So the real conflict here about these 2 service providers is that Maxis and Digi, these 2 companies have almost 65% of customers, stakeholders, 65%. There are 7 service providers in Malaysia, but Maxis and Digi have 65% of stakeholders. Now, Digi has about 35% of customers, and Maxis has only 30% of customers. Now, the paradigm here is, this is very conflicting, and that, is the motivation for taking up this research. Though the customers are more for Digi, the revenue is less, and the profit margin for Digi is less, whereas Maxis is more. Then we actually went to the offices of Digi and Maxis and get the ethical approval from them. And we wanted to do, what is the real problem? What is the real issue? In spite of more number of subscribers for Digi, the revenue is less, the profit margin is less compared to Maxis. Later, we found that Maxis is a local company. They know the service culture very well than Digi, which is a multinational company. So that is a huge difference. And then, so we took this project. And then here, as you know, the innovation, there are two types of innovation. One is the radical innovation. For example, this is the photostat machine. It's a radical innovation in the beginning. After that, you have only incremental, innovation, like 3-in-1, like the photostat machine, Xeroxing, and then scan. Then you have 5-in-1. Now we have radical innovation. You just keep the book, then all the pages in the book will be photostat, and then you will get the entire book. Oh, what a fantastic innovation. So this is, we call a radical innovation. Okay, then comes, you see in IT field, the one-sided floppy was initiated to store the data. Then we got the two-sided floppy. Then we got CD. Then we got pen drive. Then after that, hard disk. So in Seoul, I had good opportunity to visit LG company. I met the CEO, everybody. And I thought, LG company is doing wonderful thing in the world. Say Samsung and LG, both companies are doing extremely nurturing the market in the world. Now the South Korea is leading in technological advancement and innovation, and Samsung is the leader of mobile industry. And now Samsung not only has mobile, they have almost all the products, but with different names. So you have technology, technological innovation, non-technological innovation, then marketing innovation, organizational innovation. I have given examples for all this type of innovation. And we used actually the SPOTS model of innovation. This is developed by TID and HID long back. And they say the innovation can be done in either in strategy innovation, or process, or organization, or tools, or system. So they call it as SPOTS model. So strategy provides the focus, that is the planning stage, that is strategy. We have to plan out when you launch a new product. And then process provides the control of the system. Then organization provides the coordination of people. Tools and technologies provide transformation and transaction capabilities, and system provides the integration, because integration is so important. When I visited Newcastle University in Australia, they gave just one card. Jaya, don't spend even 1 cent of dollar anywhere. Use the card everywhere. I was surprised. How can I use the card in train and bus? They say, no problem. You can use the same card. So that is the automation and integration we are talking about. The same card can be used in small petty shop outlet to aeroplane. Oh, what an integration. What an automation. So the bill will go immediately to the university. So when I was traveling in train, I can use the card. When I was traveling in bus, I can use the same card. So the same card can be used anywhere. Oh, that is what we mean by automation and integration today. That is the digital system people are thinking about. Okay, so now we will move on to the pricing practice. So in marketing, as we know, there are three types of pricing. That is consumer value informed pricing. There is very lack of research in this area because we never get feedback from customers. That's the reason. Okay, because the starting point for any business is the customer. The end user is also customer. Unless we do market survey and get information from the customers about the product, I don't think you can go do good business today. So there is a lack of research in consumer value information pricing. So we took this variable as the enhancing variable, mediating variable, then competition informed pricing, cost informed pricing. Then as far as management performance, we operationalize into two. Performance, that is attract new consumers, open new market, market share, consumer satisfaction, and consumer retention. That is our market-driven performance. And the operational-driven performance, the service development, and then delivery process improvement. So this is the management performance. And if you see the model, very complex. And the value co-creation, the scale measurements for this construct, we standardized, we developed. So we got actually 2 journal articles based on this construct alone. So this is the SPOT model. So the theory supporting this framework is actually market-based view and the SPOTS model for innovation. So this is the SPOTS model, and the mediating variable is the pricing practices relevant to the market conditions. And then the market-driven performance and the operational-driven performance is the topic of interest. And then whether the outcome, productive or unproductive innovation. You cannot say always innovation is productive. It can even lead to unproductive outcome. So therefore, we want to test whether the innovation is really productive or unproductive. Now, in this sense, I tell you one simple example. My wife, whenever I contact my wife in India, I use separate SIM, DigiSIM. And it costs just 1 rupee per me per minute. No other service provider in the world can give such a cheap rate. Very cheap, 1 rupee. So this is the innovation Digi can do. They have SIM card for each country. So if you want to speak to India, some people in India, you can use India SIM. If you want to speak to USA, my daughters are in USA. So whenever I speak to them, I use USA SIM, Western SIM. So what an innovation they have. So when you use those SIMs, you will find that it is so economical, so much less cost. Whereas if I use, for example, Malaysia SIM, it will be really 10 times more, 10 rupees per minute. If I use the same Malaysia SIM and talk to my wife in India, it comes to 10 rupees. Whereas if I use DigiSIM, it is just 1 rupee. So see the difference. So that is what we say, whether it is productive or unproductive innovation we are talking about. Then the existing product development, then we actually got permission from Digi and Maxis. Maxis is the great business magnet, Mr. Ananda Krishnan's company. Ananda Krishnan is the second richest person in Malaysia. So his company is Maxis, and Digi is, of course, a multinational company. Okay. So now there are so many findings, conclusions, evaluations of the model, all that you can go through. I don't have time. So now I want to show this. Those who want to do further research, see how many papers we could produce, journal articles and commercial articles, and magazines, journals, business journals like this. So many articles based on this telecommunication sector. So I shall give you the list later. So you can always refer if you are interested in doing research on telecommunication industry. Okay, so the next one is I'm going on to the 4th management model. This is in the marketing field, the purchase intention of products through volume discount scheme. So there are thousands of journal articles available on sales promotion. There are 27 sales promotion strategies are used by, marketplace. Now, out of which price discount is commonly used to sales promotion in the world. say buy one, get one free, or buy one, sometimes get three free. Then we see, are they doing really ethical business where you buy one and get three free? Okay, so we actually did a first paper on this, buy one, get one free, or buy one, get three free. I'm not discussing that model. It was published, it was already published. So you can go to my Google Scholar and see my journal article on BOGO scheme, buy one, get one free. Okay, now this research is based on volume discount, mainly because people, have not done much research on volume discount. Now, volume discount is when you buy 1 liter of sunflower oil, you will get 200 ml extra. That is the volume discount. So instead of 1 liter of oil, you will get 1.2 liters of oil. That is called actually volume discount. So now we want to know actually which factors do impact on consumer decision to buy products under volume discount scheme. This is our first research question. And the second one is which products are suitable to sell under the scheme, volume discount scheme. And thus volume discount scheme is appropriate for any store in the market. And which type of brand is appropriate for volume discount? Is it the branded one or non-branded companies like that? Then what promotion characteristics affect on consumer decision in volume discount? Then how consumer attitude mediates the relationship between the purchase attitude and the intention to purchase under volume discount. See, almost all customers today go to the market and change their brand sometimes, because they see what are the sales promotions available. If I'm getting something more, then I will even forego my brand. Sometimes it happens. I take, on the spot decision when I buy something, when I purchase something, because I change. Oh, earlier I was using this product. Why can't I try this one where I'm getting more? So my family is big. My family size is big. So if it is more volume, then the frequency of visit to the shop will be lesser. And then my utilization will be more. So we actually made a complex management model for this. This is our management model for volume discount. That is the purchase characteristics of, this is actually new, not available in any of the journals. So this is supporting theories or theory of planned behavior and the stimulus organism and response model. So these are the purchase characteristics of volume discount scheme: product category, brand image, store image, scheme characteristics, message framing, subjective norms. So some of our constructs are new here. Scheme characteristics is new, message framing is new. Then we also included deal proneness later, because most of the times when New Year comes, they give sales promotion. When Diwali comes, they give sales promotion. So what is the deal? And then whether people prefer such type of volume discounts during the festival season or during the cultural event. Then what is the derived benefits of these characteristics? It may be perceived savings, perceived quality, perceived self-expression, and perceived convenience. And then finally, intention to purchase products on volume discount. And this model is supported by theory of planned behavior. Agent I think in 1920 or some years, I forgot, he developed this theory of planned behavior, which is commonly used for consumer behavior or consumer purchase behavior. And in fact, my PhD student, Nelvin, has used interpersonal planned behavior for urban travel behavior model. And these are the stimulus, the derived benefits are organism, and the outcome is the response. So therefore, the Baguji developed the stimulus organism response model. Later on, the model was decomposed by Jacobi. Okay, I want to know how many minutes left. So can I go to the fifth model, or I should stop at this juncture?
Exact. Our time is still 6:30, but doesn't matter. I mean, you can take the.
So how many minutes left, sir?
Sir, it is already 6:15. So some time we leave for the question and answers also.
Okay, then I'm not going to discuss the fifth model. 4 models will do. I just tell you, see, we published this many journal articles from that model, volume discount scheme model. Okay, so now fifth model is about the LCC and the FSC. No, you know, low cost carrier, we have AirAsia. AirAsia has introduced also domestic flights in India. They are also doing international flights. Like Virgin in Australia do only domestic flights, whereas AirAsia concentrate both on domestic and international flights. So the low cost carrier, actually LCC gets a profit margin of before pandemic. I'm talking about now all are sick companies. Airline companies are sick throughout the world during the last 2 years. I'm talking about the normal period before pandemic. So AirAsia was actually scoring very well, 15 to 18% margin of profit, whereas Malaysian Airlines could do only 3%. So now the stakeholders want to know whether we can invest in airlines company where the profit margin is not even bank interest. So that's why we motivated to take up this research. Okay, now I want to tell you this one, very important for young researchers. What is novelty in management research? So now in palm oil production, neglect spotting is the novelty, because not seldom researched palm oil exports and production, you know, in Malaysia, it is seldom researched. So we took that area, so it we call neglect spotting. So therefore we could publish a paper and get research projects. Or is it reasoning? Can you call novelty as reasoning? That is renewable energy. There is a confusion here. Whether solar energy gives long-term benefits or short-term benefits. That's a confusion. So we want to have answer for this. I can have installation of solar panel in my house, provided I get good money out of it. So therefore, it is still confusion spotting. And then, is it innovation? Like when we do some innovative process, whether it is getting, you know, attractions from the customers, that is again questionable, that is again novelty, or conceptualization of a framework or decomposing a management model, it is again novelty. And the new operationalization, that is again novelty. So therefore, yes, you may certainly call any one or more of the above statements as novelty in management research. So I have given more than 50 models here. The list is not exhaustive. So you can always visit my Google Scholar, and those who are interested to take up research in these models like post office innovation model, hotel website model, plastic bags ban model, background music model at shopping malls. So like that, I have, you know, constructed almost more than 60 management models for various business applications. If the new researchers or those who are doing projects, if you are really interested in any one of these areas, kindly refer the Google Scholar. I have given the website. You can also, you know, get my article. The PDF is available. Okay, so thank you very much for giving this opportunity. And I really appreciate if you have any queries. With my best knowledge, I can answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doctor, for such a in-depth presentation, and it also talks volumes of the kind of work which you and your team have done. In the presentation, you have talked about the 5 factors which actually which are responsible for conceptualizing the management models, and you have talked about 5 models, and the diversity of these models was amazing, let me tell you. And the way the in-depth work which has been done was really appreciable, and I'm sure this will benefit our participants, which comprises from, you know, most experienced people like our past president, Mr. Indipal Singh ji, and to the younger generation which are present in this session. So I would invite now the questions from the audience. If you have, if anybody has, people can put in the chat box or can raise hand, or unmute and they can ask. I mean, both will be welcome. In the meantime, I have one very inquisitive question is that in this today's very dynamic world which is happening, and changes are coming so fast. So, the relevance of any model is, what is the kind of time frame for which one can look forward to the relevance of the models, which
Okay, so actually what we do is when we conceptualize the management model, we test the model. Now, testing can be done by experimental designs or through primary surveys or going to the plant and see how it works. So we can test in many ways. Now, testing is for consistency of our model and also for validity of the model. So there are so many types of validity. We call face validity, that is the expert opinion on the model, and then the construct validity, and then the content validity. So we check all these validities and then see whether generalization is possible for the management model. Otherwise, global readers won't accept your model. So whenever you develop a model, make sure that you are not just focusing on local people. Then it is very difficult to publish a journal article. They will say it is refined, it is confirmed to a smaller region. So when I started publishing an international, tourist arrivals for Penang, the reviewers said Penang is just one dot in the world map. So global readers won't like it. Then I changed my way of writing even journal article because they want to see the practical relevance of it for the entire world, not just Malaysia alone. So therefore, when you concentrate on constructing a managed model, make sure that it is for general. Maybe your focus point, could be a country. But overall, when you see the management model, it should be for global readers. And the focus point is just your country. So otherwise, I think, it may not serve the purpose of conceptualization really. So therefore, for global readers will appreciate if your model is applicable at least to developing nations, at least to developed nations, at least to underdeveloped nations like that. So therefore, don't develop management model only for India or only for Mumbai. No, I want to conceptualize for general global readers so that any part of region in the world, people might use your management model for business applications. So therefore, the practical relevance is very important, and then see whether how it can be used. So the testimonials are very clear. I get from so many readers. In fact, one of my students said, I got more than 1 million this year because of your management model. See the testimonials we get immediately. I applied the technique you have used in business, and so I got 1 million ringgits within a year by doing that. So that is what we want. Am I answered your question,
yes,
sir?
yes, thank you. I think Indrapalji, you have
Yeah. No, I just thank you, sir. Dr. Krishnaswamy, very interesting presentation. All of us, kind of gave up operations research and economic model building way back, when we were in the college, and thereafter we have kind of, so-called management practice and shunned them. But I can see the great utility in the work that you have done. And I suppose in country like India, in policy making, this sort of thing, apart from the business applications, for example, how should we subsidize solar panels so that, bulk of Northern India, which has sun for about 10 months in the year, can use it and save enough power to compensate for the excess energy demand during the summer months and things like that. So I can really foresee so many problems. For example, food distribution problem. We have one hand hungry people dying without food, and other side we have FCI godowns full of food food grains, and the rats are eating away thousands of tons. Our public distribution system and our healthcare system and so on. Every time either there are excesses or there are shortages. There is no optimization as such. So huge amount of wastages. So I would really very sincerely thank you for taking this time off and enlightening us on this logic of making a model. And that is not so difficult as we were fearing when we were the students. And it is thanks to good professors like you who sort of make it easy for us to understand. There may be a lot of technology behind actual calculations and other things that we need not go into as managers. But if we can buy the logic that how variables are treated with, analyzed and relationships are found and so on, I think it could be extremely useful, even to the corporations for optimizing their distribution centers, service centers, designing service innovation, which is a very, very new field as far as I can see. So thank you so much for your wonderful exposition, and I found it personally very, very useful. So thank you so much.
No mention.
Thank you, sir. There is another question, but before I move to the next question, I will request the participants to put on their camera with a smiling face so that our team can have a beautiful capture of the moment. Sir, the next question is how to find novelty in technology acceptance model theory. The participant is saying that currently he researches human resource management information system usage, and he is finding it difficult to find novelty.
So the novelty in technology acceptance model is the development of the software to some extent. So I see, for example, recently the e-commerce business. So now last 2 years, if you see, e-commerce business is the talk of the town, because we are not able to move outside due to lockdown, and we are sitting in the home and asking door delivery of some of our products through, say, here we have a lot of, e-commerce online suppliers are there, like Lazada. So many platforms like Alibaba, Amazon.com, so many things. Now the acceptance model, so when they develop the software, I see a lot of problems. For example, I ordered in Lazada a particular hard disk. So now the username I gave, for example, my phone number. So my mobile number, I gave it as a username. So what happened? They said there is no stock of Western Digital hard disk. So in your wallet, we have deposited your money. You can take it from your wallet. So this is the simple thing. So I thought, the technology is okay. Anyway, I'm getting back my money. They have returned the money. So when I go to the wallet, they were asking the security verification. But what happened in the middle, during the 15 days, my SIM was damaged. So I changed the SIM. So my phone number has changed. So now it is going to the old phone number, whereas I don't have that SIM at all. So I was asking Lazada, is it an acceptance model where, you can either use or email or phone number? They say the wallet, we will have a security code. You cannot transfer your money to other account. That is reasonably okay. But I said, I want to change the number, just user number. But then you can change only your password, not username. You can also see this in most of the banks in India or in Malaysia, where they say forgot password. So you are allowed to change your password. They will give the website, you can change your password, but not the username. So username, once said, it is fixed. So it may be my mistake to use username as my mobile number. So because my SIM card has damaged, so my money gone to some wallet where I am not able to use that money. It is a huge amount actually for Western Digital. So then, so therefore, though we say technology and all, when it comes to practice, there are a lot of problems. Similarly, another instance where Seoul, South Korea sent a soft copy of, a visiting professor letter to me. When I go to the immigration office, they said the soft copy cannot be accepted. You have to get the hard copy. I said they are calling within a gap of 1 week. How can they send through Korea within a week from South Korea to here? No, they say cannot. Then I told, why don't you contact the HR officials of Chung, the university people, and say whether it is, it is a full proof of a letter from them or not. They inquired, they are convinced, but still they say it is a rule. So we need to get a hard copy. Soft copy is not allowed. So though we say technology acceptance model in management, in many cases, it is not really working. So therefore, unless or otherwise a full proof soft copy exists, then I think technology acceptance model would work. But now, people are not accepting the soft copies or the verified soft copies or the endorsed soft copies by authentic sources. They are not accepting it. They want only hard copy. So this is really, stressful and painful, I would say. We talk so much about the technology acceptance model in management, but when it comes to practice, it is not really happening. So I think I have answered your question.
Yeah, yes. Thank you. And unless there is any other question, we are coming to the end of our session. Thank you very much, Doctor, for taking out time and enlightening our participants on the project management and also on the models which you talked about. I thank all the participants, our past presidents and current president, Dr. Kavita, and our EC members for attending the session. I will urge upon all the participants who are not member of Bombay Management Association to become member. We are in the forefront of imparting knowledge and also disseminating knowledge through eminent speakers like today we have Dr. Krishnaswamy. Similarly, in future also, our endeavor will be to bring very, very innovative topics to the field and also continue to participate in our weekly programs which are going on online. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you very much, Dr. Krishnaswamy, once again for taking out time for our participants. It was really helpful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Good evening and have a nice time in the remaining day. Thank you, sir.